for the pledge. At this time, I'd like to introduce Dave Isley, Deputy Director of Veterans Affairs, served the United States Marine Corps for 3 years following 9/11 as an infantry rifleman. He is a rifle and pistol expert. He earned the Marine Corps Good Conduct Medal, the National Defense Medal, and the Commendation Medal during his years of service. Dave, thank you for your service. The floor is yours.
Thank you,
and
Commissioner.
thank you for the great job that you do on behalf of our veterans in our county every day and outside of it.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll just stand for a moment of silence. El Dorado County Sheriff's Office, California. Deputy Sheriff Brian Ismail was shot and killed while responding to a fight. Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, Arizona. Detention officer Gene Lee succumbed to injuries sustained the previous day when he was assaulted by an inmate. Please keep our first responders and their families in our thoughts and prayers while they go through this horrible time. And we have to absolutely talk a little bit about this. It was savage murder by the drug cartel down in Mexico. U.S. citizens were killed. Among those killed was Rahana Marie Miller, 30, and her 4 children. Howard, 12, Crystal, 10, 8-month-old babies, Titsis and Tina, and Tiana. Her burned-out, bullet-ridden SUV was reportedly found outside of the town of Bazepa, where the settlement was located. Also killed was Christina Marie Langford Johnson, 31, Diana Gray Longford, 43, and 2 children, Trevor and Rogan, ages 11 and 2. I just like to have a moment of silence for their families, and it's just a horrendous thing, and especially the fact that no one should die but children. A moment of silence, please. Thank you.
It's terrible.
That is terrible. Real terrible. I mean, it's horrible. Okay, I'd like to bring this Wednesday, November 6, 2019 Board of Commissioners meeting to order at 10:05 a.m. in the Commissioners Conference Room at 123 Wyoming Avenue at the Lackawanna County Government Center at the Globe. I'd like to make a motion for the reading and approval of the minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Cummings,
Here.
Commissioner O'Malley.
Yes. Before we get into a proclamation presentation,
Let's go on.
and a commissioner could chime in on this too, I'd like to congratulate all of our officials, or all of the citizens that ran for public office. Running for public office is absolutely a I don't even know if interesting would even defy it. Soul opening, life opening situation where your life, your family, everything is actually opened up, just like a can of worms. It really is. And local media, I mean, it's a fight. You know what I mean? You get beat up all the time. There's nothing easy about it whatsoever. And I'd just like to thank all those who ran, that won, that lost, because it's really, really not easy. And anybody who's thinking about doing it, please, I'm telling you, you got to think of your family first, because you're really putting your family on the line, because they will get beat up too. You know what I mean? They will see you get ripped apart, ripped to shreds by the local media. It will happen. And it's something that shouldn't happen to a lot of real good people. And we've seen it. We've seen it happen to each other here. And a lot of times there's no reason whatsoever. And a lot of it was just outright lies. And it's just scary to think that that's the way it is. You know, when people do a good job, sometimes they just get kicked in the head as hard as they possibly can do it to you. But that's our life in 2019. But I would just like to thank all those who had the guts to put their name on the line, put their family on the line, and try to be elected to a position. And to those who won, congratulations. And to those that lost, thank you for participating and trying to do what's right. Commissioner Cummings?
Congratulations to all the people that succeeded in their run for office, and you're right. It's why a lot of people won't run. I know a
Afraid to.
lot of people that are good people that should run for office that I've tried to get on the ballot that absolutely refuse because of what the media does to people, and you have to wonder if that's done on purpose. Obviously it is. I mean, it seems like it's one arm of the one party to me. So, but I mean, I'm not shy in saying that. I've been saying that since day one, and I have the articles to back me up. So, I mean, I'll say one thing. I know a lot of people will see me in the public and they'll say, we watched the meetings on ECTV, and we read the paper, and they don't seem to jive. Why is that? I'm like, well, you should call them and ask them that. I don't know. Don't ask me. I didn't report it in the paper. They did. So, it is very difficult for families, and one of the candidates in Old Forge gets beat up all the time, and it's amazing. His whole family got crucified this year for nothing, for absolutely no reason whatsoever. It's not right. It's just not right. It burns me up. But again, some people just have the golden name something. I don't know that they don't get hit, but I obviously know how it feels. That's okay. I'll run again though, so it doesn't bother me. It does sometimes, but you've been through it a long time,
Yeah,
Commissioner.
lots of fun.
I don't know. What are you running for next?
I think I'm going to relax for a little while.
Oh, well,
But we will be back.
yeah. you will.
With that being said, I'd like to talk about something that really is near and dear to Commissioner Cummings' heart and my heart. We had our opioid crisis in our community where so many good people died, and it just left such a hole in the family's hearts. Parents, like, to be a parent, lose your child, have to bury your child. It just goes against nature. I mean, you're not supposed to bury your child. Your child's supposed to bury you. And we saw such loss. And there's one person who really, from the first time that they actually were in a debate, who talked about there was an opioid crisis here before it became something that everybody wanted to talk about. I'm not saying that against anybody, hurt anybody, but there's people out there doing a great job trying to make sure to curb the opioid crisis. But there was a person that was talking about, oh my God, 5 years ago, maybe even before that, but what I know of is 5 years ago. And that individual made it part of her platform when she was running for commissioner. She really did. She made it part of her platform. And at this time, I'd like to have Barb Durkin from Drug and Alcohol to come up to the podium to say a few words about this individual who really cares.
Good morning. I'm Barbara Durkin. I'm the director of the Lackawanna, Susquehanna Office of Drug and Alcohol Programs, and I am pleased to be here today to present a plaque to Commissioner Cummings for all of her work, not only with the opioid crisis within
Could be on the agenda.
within Lackawanna County, but also the work that Commissioner Cummings has done with my office in support of substance use disorder prevention and treatment services. Commissioner Cummings has been really, really interested in the work that my office does, the work with the schools, the work with the students, and without the support, I don't know that we would be able to continue to move forward. So I do appreciate your work, and I wanted to honor you on behalf of our office and on behalf of the county. I can't take credit for this. This was something that Commissioner O'Malley really wanted to make sure that we did to honor the work that you did on behalf of the citizens of the county. Wow. So I have a plaque here for you that says, in appreciation, it says, the Lackawanna Susquehanna Office of Drug and Alcohol Programs presented to Commissioner Laureen A. Cummings in appreciation for her years of committed service to the treatment and prevention of substance use disorders. And it dates November 2019. And it has a quote that says, "Leadership is liberating people to do what is required of them in the most effective and humane way possible." So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do we have to go to the podium?
you've ever stood on this side. How about that one? Two first.
Here we go, ready? Look here. Oh. Smile, 1, 2, 3. A couple here. The one with the flash too. Big smile. All right, thank you.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Barbara, thank you. Great job.
Well, I have one more.
That's great. Who else?
And this was not on the agenda either. But we have also a plaque for Commissioner O'Malley.
That's
That was definitely not expected. That was supposed to be one
good.
show.
Again, for your work, not only with individuals who are struggling with addiction, but individuals connected to the opioid crisis. You, along with Commissioner Notoriani and Commissioner Cummings, have been instrumental in making sure that resources are available to the citizens of Lackawanna County who are struggling with addiction. So we wanted to make sure that you were honored as well. It is really important on behalf of me and my office and the work that we do to make sure that you know that you've made a huge impact in our society here. So thank you.
Totally unexpected.
And the plaque says the same thing, but thank you.
That's okay.
Jeez.
That's great.
And just so you know, I've never stood in the middle even.
All right, everybody look here and smile. 1, 2, 3. Smile, everybody smile. That's good, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Really threw me a curve there. Holy God. Jeepers. But, you know, I didn't want to, you know, this is, well, I totally did not expect this, but Commissioner Cummings is so deserving because I really mean it. You know what I mean? As much as it might have been a part of the commissioner's office that we were going to be trying to fight to save family members, she absolutely made it her foremost first priority as commissioner. Not to say that everything else wasn't a priority, but this was really hit home and just hit the community in a way that she wasn't going to let our doctors poison our citizens. And then finding out that the pharmaceutical companies were lying to the doctors. She's the first person ever said that I ever heard say that, ever. She's the first person who said, now all of us have gone to the hospital and they'll say to you like, oh, you need pain? You like a half smile, I mean a half of a smile, or a half a frown, or a full frown, and they basically calculate what they were going to give you if it was a painkiller. First person I ever heard that said, why is that part of the signs? You know what I mean? She's a nurse. You know what I mean? That's not a vital sign. You know what I mean? That's not your blood pressure. That's not anything else. It's not a vital sign. And she's been pushing this for the last 5 years. There's no one else that's worked harder than her on this. There just isn't. There really isn't. And I'd just like to congratulate you. And I didn't expect plaque from me, but and the other thing is, you know, we're one of the first counties who sued the pharmaceutical companies, and hopefully we're going to be having some meetings soon that we might be hearing some word on. I'm not saying that their settlement's going to happen soon, but you know what I mean, there's progress, and you guys are seeing it. Johnson & Johnson and all these other organizations, they're starting to step up to the plate because they know that they were poisoning the citizens and they were lying to the doctors, and it's starting to happen. And we're hoping that happens before we leave, or if it happens afterwards, we still made sure of it. And Commissioner Cummings was at the forefront of making that happen.
Thank you, Commissioner. You know, the reasoning behind my support of this is a little selfish. First, as a nurse, I saw it, and the work I was doing with my patients. You know, when we are passing our medications, if we drop a pill on the floor, we have to throw it out. It has to be discarded. We can't reuse it. So this happened with me with an opioid, and the family was there and witnessed it, and were extremely upset, very upset, because they're very expensive. And, you know, I offered to pay for it because I felt terrible. But, you know, it triggered something in my mind. I was thinking, well, geez, you know, these are pain meds. I started looking into it because our patients used to hit that buzzer every 3 to 4 hours. They knew when that was required. When they'd start getting very agitated, and you know, you'd hear the buzzers going. It was just amazing. They needed that pill. They needed that pill right away, and we'd give those 4 times a day. And Then we had to go up to the patches because those just were no longer effective. I mean, you can go to the highest dose of the oxycodone and it wasn't being effective, so then we had to go into the fentanyl patches. And I would literally wear gloves, you know. I mean, it was just, you know, scary for us because it goes right through your skin. But then, unfortunately, it did hit home. And, you know, it's a crisis in relatives, and you know, some have gotten through it, others haven't. It's just a struggle, and I've done everything I can. I've literally turned doctors' names into the DA's office. I will continue to fight that. I don't care. I don't care who gets mad at me. I don't care who hates me. That everybody knows me knows that that's the type of person I am. If I have to, I'll do it. I don't care. And you know, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop once I'm out of here. I was doing this for about 15 years, fighting this crisis, and it was initially always called the heroin crisis. And after I researched, I used to blame the doctors all the time. I was, you know, fighting these doctors, and you know, I would literally call their offices. That's how angry I was that they were prescribing these pills, and to family members. And you know, family members would look at me and say, the doctor wouldn't prescribe something that would hurt me. You're crazy. Why would they do that? You know, well, they didn't know because they were lied to by the pharmaceutical companies. And we all know that that's a fact today. You know, the AMA, after years of fighting with getting this off the vital signs, because it was listed as a vital sign along with blood pressure, heart rate, and respirations, pain should never have been a vital sign, never. It should have never been the fifth vital sign. The AMA finally took it down in 2016, so we won that battle there. Now we just have to win it at the federal level, and hopefully these senators and congressmen and women will finally remove that from the list of a vital sign. And, you know, I was talking with Pat just before we came into the meeting, Pat Ravillo, about Darvocet, how Darvocet was taken off the market because of all the deaths surrounded by heart conditions, heart attacks and heart conditions. But yet we have OxyContin out there destroying, not just killing people, but destroying whole communities where we have, you know, this is just an exaggeration because I can't remember the exact numbers, but your citizenry is like 400 citizens in the town, and they've prescribed millions of OxyContins in a town of only 400 people, you know. I mean, obviously they were targeting some of these towns to try and, you know, use them as, you know, their test sites. I believe it was West Virginia, but I could be wrong on that off the top of my memory. But if you think they're not targeting our area, you're crazy, because they are. You know, I mean, and people are what's going to make the difference. When you say no, when the dentist hands you a script, you say, no, I don't need that, I'll take Advil, or I say, you know, whatever. It has to start, you have to start saying no to these drugs, because they will eventually see into your families. And I've watched it happen as a nurse, I've watched it happen in my family, and no matter how I try to fight it, it's something that it doesn't matter who you are. It is not. It used to be the picture, like that was my big thing. We have to get rid of that stigma, and that's why I created that task force, was to get rid of that stigma. And Barb, you've been wonderful, and your office has been wonderful, and they've done a great job, and I thank you. And so has Maureen McGuigan. Maureen McGuigan did the videos for the kids. We had a contest with that. I hope that they continue something like that in arts and culture. And, you know, Commissioners O'Malley really, you know, when I spoke at the one graduation for drug court, Marty Heenahan was in the audience, I guess, and he came in after that, after his daughter passed, and he asked us if we can help. And Commissioner O'Malley went right full bore. We have that rally in the courthouse every year.
Every July. Yeah.
Great idea, and it's brought a lot of information to the public. So, you know, people say, well, you know, I talk about things that aren't our responsibility as commissioners, but they are. They are our responsibilities. We are right here at the local level, and we are responsible to bring these issues to the public, because the public is eventually going to pay for it through the services that we offer. And we've seen that through the costs of, even our coroner's office was here looking for additional funding. I mean, it's just a crisis that we have to continually look at and watch and never ignore it and hope it doesn't happen again. But it seems like, you know, every couple of years, God bless you, they come up with some new idea to try and addict our citizenry. First it's cigarettes, then it's alcohol, then it's opioids.
Vaping now.
Vaping. I mean, well, it's not really vape. It's the THC in that's killing the people. But I even warned them about that, and I was made fun of. I mean, that's a serious issue with the medical marijuana that people just don't want to recognize. And they seem to think they're going to make money on it, but it's proven they're not. Colorado is not. California is not. California is a disaster right now. They've got needles everywhere. They've got homeless people everywhere. People can't even afford the rents. They're a disaster. It's amazing what's going on out there. If anybody gets a chance to go and look at some of the video, and now they're talking about in Philadelphia they're going to have these free safe injection sites for heroin. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. People really need to pay attention to this stuff, and I greatly appreciate the fact that my fellow commissioners did let me run with this and involve all the different offices that we have, the DA, drug and alcohol, Bill Browning was involved. At the time it was Shane Scanlon, and we really did try and educate people, and I think we've done that. I think you're still doing a great job, and I hope you continue. And I'm sorry to keep going on. It is
That's
just
all right.
something
It's a
I'm
big
very
day.
passionate about, and I hope that they continue to work with you, Barb, and make sure that you educate the kids. The kids they're the future. They're the important ones, and make sure that they know, how easily they can be led into a drug addiction and not even be aware of it, always be leery of it. Thank you very much, and thank you, Commissioner, and thank you for this award. This truly means the world to me that I was able to try and help in some way to educate the public on this and bring it to the forefront. And we no longer call it a heroin crisis. We call it the opioid crisis, which it actually is, and that's where it starts. So thank you very much.
Welcome. Okay, we're going to go into proclamation presentation 19-0295. The Elephant Freedom Fighter. Kim, George, Mark, would you like to come up to the podium and let's talk about the Freedom Fighter? And it's Veterans Day is just around the corner. It's going to be this coming Monday. Please, everyone in the viewing audience, I think you should say it every day, but thank a veteran. If it wasn't for our veterans, we would not be sitting here today having this meeting, which is a fact. Yeah, the podium, absolutely.
Just don't trip over the cord there.
Now, I know you're always looking for extra funds because we got to get this done, and we got the artiste behind you who did a fabulous job, and it's just amazing what you were able to do with your hands. It's really, if anyone hadn't had the chance to see it, it's built, it's real. It just has to be cast. It's
cast now.
It's cast it, but it has to be actually. Oh, it is cast. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's happening, but it's stunning. Like when you look at it, it's like, and it's we've had. There's different monuments across country for World War I, II, all the other wars that we've been involved in, but nothing really for the modern day soldier from Desert Storm up. And Mark depicted this in such an incredible way that I think it stands for everyone who lost their lives and have given of themselves and gone overseas or just stayed at home and fought here to make sure that our borders are safe and everything else. But it really matters, and I think it's going to be astounding. And where it's going to be placed in Elephant, it's never going to be missed. It's a great spot, and thousands of cars will be going by it every day. Talk about your sculpture, which is amazing.
More importantly, let's talk about what the sculpture honors: the desert soldier, the modern day warrior. When I first conceived that I was gonna do a military art piece, I considered doing a World War II depiction, a Korean War depiction, but my circle of friends said maybe we should honor the modern day soldier, and the words just rang out. Wow, it's so true. Let's honor the modern day soldier instead, and our community got in behind it. Our politicians got in behind it. Our leaders at Veterans Affairs got in behind it, and now it's going to be a reality. The statue is a 6'6" depiction of the Desert Storm sentry with his weapon, and from what I understand, it is cast in stainless steel now and ready to be placed in the spring in our hometown of Oliphant. I'd like to thank everyone who got in behind the project. We still got a little ways to go. We need to raise some funding for site development and the base in which it'll be placed on. So that's where we're at. But the bottom line is I just wanted to thank everyone who got in behind the project. Big thank you to Dave. We're looking to get it in place in the spring, so keep an eye out in downtown Oliphant for this most important tribute to
Great day.
the Desert
Great
Soldier.
day. Mark, fabulous. And like I said, I'm lucky I can draw a line for 4 inches straight. And it just amazes me to stand by it and look at it and just to know what he made out of. Like, there's chicken wire in it, and it's just, and it's perfect, and it's there, and it's huge, and it's bigger than life. It really is. Congratulations. You're
Thank you very much. But like I said, it's truly a tribute. It's not about me. It is
No, but
about the
that
Desert
will-
Soldier.
That beautiful artwork that you have produced is going to remind everybody of why we're able to sit here today.
Right on.
what it's about.
Ultimately, if I could say one thing in closing, I always admired the soldier as a failure as a soldier. I went to Fort Leonard Wood as a young man. I was going to serve during Desert Storm as a water purification analyst, so I was definitely getting shipped over. But what happened to me was I had an unfortunate bunk accident in the middle of the night. I jumped off my bunk, broke my foot. They shipped me home, and my military dream ended right there. So I thought. But then in my civilian life, I found myself as a contractor in the Department of Defense, and I found myself doing various art pieces that depicted the military way of life and the military lifestyle. So I'm just grateful that was how I played my part. I want to honor the soldiers that did serve since I couldn't. Or pardon me, soldiers, sailors, Marines,
Yeah,
all the above,
everybody.
our
Yeah.
service people. And I just want to say a sincere thank you.
Look great. The best. Okay, Kim Atkinson. Come on, Kim, let's talk about where do we get. So if somebody wants to give a donation, because it sounds like there's still some site work to be
Yes.
done and some other little odds and ends to be wrapped up.
And first and foremost, I want to thank the county for backing us and helping us with a substantial grant. You've been very forthcoming and helpful with everything you've done for us. How this came about, how I got involved, of course, I'm involved with all kind of veterans issues.
Lieutenant Drasba.
Yes, Carol Ann Drasba.
Carol Ann
I
Drasba.
designed that and helped that to come to
Beautiful.
fruition. The Vietnam Memorial, of course, at the courthouse. And Pat always calls me when there's a project going on with some memorial. But basically, we did the Hometown Hero banners in our town of Oliphant. And Mark called me, I didn't know him, and said, "Can I bring my soldier? We were going to have a celebration." I said, "Well, what does it look like?" And he described it. I said, "Can you send me a picture?" But he told me it was made out of garbage. I said, "What do you mean garbage?" He said, "There's tin cans, there's chicken
amazing.
wire,
It's amazing.
there's chicken bones
I
in
know.
it."
Oh, there's
Okay?
chicken bones. I didn't know
Yeah.
that part.
So he showed it to me, and I was blown away. I said, "Yeah, bring it. We'll put it on display." But to see it in person, you were there. You
It is.
saw
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see it.
I do have a photo of it, which I can pass around if anybody would like to see it. But I would like to say that when we saw it, Veterans Affairs was there, you were there, everybody was hollering, "Oh, we need this. We need to do something with it." And, of course, my light bulb went on and said, hometown boy, hometown statue. We're going to put Oliphant on the map and honor our veterans with this magnificent memorial. We thought about how it was going to be made, and we wanted to do something different. It's the first memorial that we know of that honors the Desert Soldier from Desert Storm on up to present, and it represents all branches of the service. Pennsylvania, what could we do? Pennsylvania monument, Pennsylvania steel. Let's do it in stainless steel. It's going to be magnificent. It has been cast. The veterans that are working on it are down in Lancaster, and they are veterans from the Desert Storm era.
Nice.
They're taking great pride in it. Mark's been down. He's tweaked it a little bit. They did it was the wax mold, I believe, they worked on. and it is poured, and it's ready to be finished. However, we're waiting for our LSA grant, which still hasn't come through yet. So if you can do anything with that, we'd appreciate it. Your grant, thank you so much. It's been so appreciative. And as Mark said, we're very close to completion. We probably need between 10 and 15,000 more. For the total amount, that's not bad. I was projecting 5 years. It's only been 2 years. So we're well on our way. And hopefully next year at this time, it'll be standing in Oliphant in a great tribute. I hope it will be. I'm trying to get national recognition for this. I would like it to be a national as well as a local focal point. A national monument would be unbelievable. But thank you so much. And I want to not only thank you, but my husband, George, I want to thank him.
Well, I was going to say, behind every good woman, there's a great man, right, George?
Yeah. He doesn't want to speak.
I know. I wasn't bringing him up. I was just
Yeah, like driving Miss Daisy, because I
driving Miss Kim.
rarely drive anymore because of my head injury. So basically, he does all the driving and the maneuvering and tells me when I should stop and take a break. So here we are, and thank you very much.
Kim, if anybody wants to give a donation.
Yes. You can go on Facebook and look for the Oliphant Freedom Fighter, and that will give you information and a full picture of the monument as well. But we also have a site, well, you can make a check out to Oliphant Borough Freedom Fighter. We have memorial bricks for a $100 purchase, and you can put your sentiment on there, your name, rank, whatever, family name, and hopefully they'll be placed. We have quite a few out there now being dedicated, and they can send it to Oliphant Borough Freedom Fighter at the Borough Building in Oliphant, which is 113 Willow Avenue in Oliphant, 18447. Or they can call me or look me up on Facebook, Kim Onda Atkinson, anytime. And I'm available for any kind of questions, quotes, whatever. Thank you very much.
We'd like to thank you and George for the great job that you do. And Mark, I didn't realize that first part. I didn't know that you just called her up and said you'd like to bring it out. And I thought you saw it before then. Wow, that's amazing.
That was the first day.
That is amazing. That's amazing. But for anybody viewing on, you have to see it. It's really dedicated to our modern day soldier.
I'd like to say one more thing. Mark is motivated not only by honoring veterans. I want to give a little tribute to his dad. Mark's father was one of the first combat photographers in World War II in Korea. His works are everywhere. They're in National Geographic, many magazines, one of the first. And his greatest body of works was the aftermath of Hiroshima. And Mark has some of these photos which have inspired him to focus his attention and his artistry towards the veterans.
And, it's incredible because, the equipment back then was so so long ago.
Yeah.
You had to carry a big bag with you, and that was really a scary situation to be there. You were literally side by side with the soldiers, literally. That's amazing, Mark. Thank you for your father's service. Thank you. Commissioner Cummings?
Well, thank you both for all that you're doing, and thank you all. And Dave Isley sitting back there.
Oh,
and,
yes. We have, Lackawanna County has one of the best ever deputy directors of Veterans Affairs. And, the job, there's so many certain responsibilities with the job. But Dave gets involved in everything that has to do with veterans. And he's a real jewel to Lackawanna County. And Dave, thank you for what you do all the time. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Dave told me his story the other day, and
I'm going to tell you a real quick story about the Freedom Fighter. When I came up to Oliphant and I saw that statue, it brought tears to my eyes because that's my generation. That's us. And when you look at it and stand there and look up at it, that's how these other countries look at us. We are their protectors. We are, the world police. And
That was a great defiant right there.
Yeah, these little kids run up, America, America, we love America. You're here to help us, and that you got it all in that statue, so. was-
It's perfect.
Yes,
Every
it is.
detail. And if it wasn't for this guy here saying, I want it, I'm taking it home, I said, no, you're not.
Kim was gonna fight me for the
Yeah.
statue. You would've
Thank
won.
you, Dave. Yeah,
No, thank you.
Thank
Oh,
you
thank
so
you,
much.
Dave. We have a certificate of recognition. The County of Lackawanna Board of Commissioners does hereby recognize Alvin Freeder Fighter Committee in honoring achievement of designation of an individual grouping providing great works in Lackawanna County. Would you like to come forward?
Thank you.
You can always get my support. Don't be too far. Thank you. Come on, come on over.
Let's slide you over a couple steps
Oh,
this
okay,
way.
there we
So
go.
so we're in the middle. Keep going. Let's put Kim right in the middle.
Is he good?
All right, that's good right there. All right, everybody look at me and smile. Take a couple of them here. 3. Flash. Everybody smile. Good. Hold up. Congratulations.
You know where you're at. I know. I said, a great man.
Somebody knows.
Yeah, I know, I know.
This ours, yeah, I think so. Thank you again.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, 19-0269. And, I mean, the reason why we do this, and we've talked about it numerous times, but I want to let it be known that, you know, we have a lot of small businesses in Lackawanna County, and a lot of times they don't get the recognition they deserve. And we have an opportunity with ECTV being here that we can get the word out that there's a business in Lackawanna County that's doing great things and really cares about the community and really provides for the community. And this was purely Commissioner Cummings' whole idea. She brought it to the forefront for the Board of Commissioners. And the reason why this is on our agenda is because of her. And I'm hoping that the next Board of Commissioners tries to keep some of this in place because, you know, if you watch other meetings, you mean a lot of times it's a lot of drag out, screaming, fighting matches and all this stuff right off the go. You know, we've always tried to make sure that right in the beginning of our meetings and during them, that we talk about the great things in Lackawanna County. And if you're a commissioner and you're not a big cheerleader for Lackawanna County, you shouldn't be here. You really shouldn't. You know, and Commissioner Cummings really cares about the small businesses in Lackawanna County, especially ones that are just starting up, that came from just an idea, or they struggled from maybe being at a flea market to having their own store, like really coming up through the ranks. The business that she's going to talk about has had an impact on our community for decades, and it's kind of from her, like I say, completely her home area because she's from Riverside, but she does live in Old Forge. Commissioner Cummings, would you like to talk about the business?
Yeah, I'd like to bring up Ravels Pizza, Pat Ravello from Old Forge.
Great, Pat. Good job. Did you bring some samples with you this morning?
No, I did not.
Ah. He's the Ravello's is an icon on Main Street in Old Forge. Tell us about how you start, what happened, and how it.
My mom and dad purchased Ravels. It's 53 years now, in 1967. And since then, you know, my mom is still involved with the business as much as she can be. And, you know, we owe it all to our workers and our fellow pizza maker neighbors and everybody, and town of Old Forge, and especially Lackawanna County.
Listen, Old Forge isn't like, I mean, I don't know if every other town is like this, but isn't it true that if you run out of, you know, say you get a real busy night and you're swamped and you run out of something, you can call over to our Carol's and say,
It's just like if you were going next door for a cup of flour. Like we borrow cheese off each other, we borrow sauce, tomatoes, you name it. And I don't think a day or 2 days go by where we don't have to borrow something off someone or somebody borrows something off. But it happens on a daily basis, believe me.
Yeah,
Just before I got here, I called up somebody, hey, I'm at the restaurant supply place, you need anything? So, but yeah, it's true. We are best friends. We travel together, we eat together, we have fun together, and we know how hard each other works at our business. And we are, a typical small business. We all have kids. We all grew up above our restaurants,
Yep.
which, today it's hard to say that today, but we all, we grew up sleeping in a booth and listening to jukebox.
How about that? It's true.
Right.
It's your legacy. Your legacy. And
thank you.
I'm so proud to have you here. I'm so proud to honor your work and your family's work and to know you and to have worked with you and to live in the same community as you.
Great. I appreciate that.
And, like I said, all of the restaurants in Old Forge work that way. And, the people, I'm very proud to be an Old Forge resident. I have a business there now, and they've supported my business all the while I'm there. And they've supported me in my election always. And it's like a close-knit family, You move into Old Forge, and right away, you're brought right back into the fold, and everybody supports you. And it's an amazing town, just like Music
It really
was.
is.
I'm sure that every town in Lackawanna County is similar to that in different ways.
Sure they are.
And it's why I just love to recognize businesses, because I like to hear their stories. And, if it wasn't for you, you supported how many employees you probably brought so many people up through the ranks, your family, in all those years, and, helped them through college if they didn't stay on at your restaurant. Or they probably still have workers at your place that have been there a generation.
And I could speak for the other restaurants in Old Forge. I know we work around, when you get somebody in high school, you work around their sports, you work around their studies, you work around their graduations, and usually they stay there through college. They'll come in on the weekends. But, we work a lot with the young kids in Old Forge, the high schoolers, and we work around sports and cheerleading and everything. And we do that because we know we have kids, and we were kids at one time, and it's hard.
That's amazing. So thank you so much for everything.
Thank you. Thanks.
I really do appreciate your work, and you're a testament to what builds a community and how it could sustain itself. And I greatly appreciate your work and all the businesses that are in our area, not just in Old Forge, but Lackawanna County. But today it's your day.
Great. Thank you very much.
We greatly appreciate your work.
Thank you.
It amazes me because 1967, we're talking almost 53 years ago.
Yep.
And, it starts off with Ravels Pizza. Now you got Ravels Pizzas at PNC Field. Mohican Sun, which is incredibly busy all the time. Opening locations. Marketplace is one of the marketplaces, Steamtown. Kingston and Drums. Like, you really, really spread it out because your pizza is great and the people love the product. It's about hard work and love and caring for your customers.
Yep.
I mean, your customers are friends and neighbors and relatives that come in all the time.
Exactly. And good workers.
Yeah, it really
Yep.
is. And I'm sure some of those workers, like people that your mother or father hired, their kids have worked there, and it's trouble to say their kids are probably working there even.
Yes, they have.
Yeah, you'll be 15 years old, you get your working papers. You be a busboy, helping out, making the dough in the kitchen. There's a lot of work to be done.
Yep.
It is. It's not an easy job work. And, anybody that's involved with catering, restaurant business, anything like that has to do with food, if somebody doesn't show up, you become the dishwasher. You become
You're
this,
right.
you become that. And you
Correct.
make it happen all the time. So congratulations. And
Thank you.
congratulations on what you've done since you've been at the helm for your expansion. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's economic development right
That is.
there.
We're talking about all different little businesses here.
Yeah.
I mean, from the stadium to the Steamtown to Kingston to Drums. He's in other counties. It's amazing.
They are the heartbeat of Lackawanna County small businesses, and I had a patient that would only eat your pizza. I used to have to get her pizza all the time, and I have to tell you that it's not just people that live here that order Ravels Pizza or Carol's and all that. People get it par baked and shipped out to all across the country. So, Old Forge
Put it on
Pizza.
350 and wait.
Right.
They are the pizza capital of the world, and I know for a fact people order Ravels Pizza from California. I know them.
Yep.
So today I am honored to give a certificate of recognition. The County of Lackawanna Board of Commissioners does hereby recognize Ravels Pizza in honor of achieving the designation of a small business spotlight in Lackawanna County given this 6th day of November 2019 by Commissioner Patrick O'Malley, Commissioner Jerry Notarianni, and myself, Commissioner Cummings. Come on up, Pat.
Great, thank you.
So much. Oh, no, thank you.
Congratulations, boss.
Everybody look here and smile. You ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Couple. More. Ready? Smile. Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
But there it is. You know, part-time employees, full-time employees, just giving back to the community, small businesses. And it really does. It really works. And look at the expansion. Remember, we're talking about 4 other locations. So job well done to Ravels Pizza. I'd like to bring up the new Director of Behavioral Health and Intellectual Disabilities, Marianne Colvert, to say a few words. Marianne's been working as the interim director for the last 10 months, and has done a great job. How's everything going in the department so far? You're there about 3 weeks now? 2 weeks?
Yeah, approximately, yes. Yes, thank you, commissioners. Good morning, thank you. I've been the acting administrator since January 14th of 2019, appointed by the Board of Commissioners when our previous administrator left to take a position in Harrisburg. And about a couple of weeks ago, Civil Service approved, along with, at the recommendation of the Lackawanna County Board of Commissioners, to promote me to the administrator of the department. And I appreciate all the support that the Lackawanna County Board of Commissioners has given me, and your recommendation for my approval to be appointed to the position. We've been doing a lot of hard work over the last 10 months. We've been working internally to redefine our contracting process, and we have been working externally to improve services for individuals with mental illness and intellectual disabilities. We've developed a forensic services department and have put together a forensic training series for our community partners, including the Lackawanna County Prison and the courts. And we've been working with drug and alcohol. We've been working to enhance intellectual disability services and early intervention services. Our staff have been participating in the Healthy Moms program, along with Lackawanna Susquehanna Office of Drug and Alcohol programs. And we've continued to expand services for individuals with intellectual disabilities. So lots of hard work. We will continue to do hard work moving forward. And thank you for all of your support to promote recovery and inclusion for individuals with mental illness and intellectual disabilities in Lackawanna and Susquehanna counties.
Commissioner Cummings?
Well, I want to congratulate you and thank you for your work. And I know that everybody that knows me knows that I question everything, and especially
Not you.
especially in your department. We've talked. We've had many discussions on different things, and I
We have.
greatly appreciate you answering them. And you've given me tons of, every time I ask you for information, you give me the information, and I read through it, and I do appreciate your work and your answers. And I know it gets frustrating sometimes, but I do want to make sure that what I'm and who I'm signing off. I do appreciate what you're doing, and I understand it. So, and you're more than qualified for this job. You do an excellent job, and you have a great personality. When you
Thank you.
When you can have a discussion with someone like me that's asking you tough questions and not lose your temper, you're doing a good job. So
Well, thank you, Commissioner. It's important that we have a dialogue.
Yes.
It's only through that dialogue that we can understand the issues that we're confronting and the methods that are best to confront them. So thank you for your ongoing questions. That's important.
Yeah, well, thank you for your patience and for answering them and for giving me all the information I requested. I don't agree with a lot of it, as you know, but most of it I do, and I think you're going to do a great job in that position. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, Marion, how long are you with the county?
I'm with the county 13 years.
Yep.
See, I want people to realize that the way that Lackawanna County, I'm hoping in the future that's the same way, but this administration for the past 4 years, We don't have political firings.
That's right.
I'm hoping there isn't in the future.
And we hire
'Cause it's
qualified
horrible.
people.
I think we hire qualified people. But with that being said, there isn't a ceiling for any employee in Lackawanna County that doesn't want to move up. If they want to do well at the job or move to another department or ascend to being a deputy director or director or supervisor, whatever, or rank out at the county prison, whatever it may be, it's there. It's there for anybody. And we try to promote from within because, like I said, I don't want anyone that's working here of our 1,175 employees plus part-time to think that there's a ceiling on them. There's not a cap. If you want to do something, you're able to do it here in Lackawanna County government, and we're going to provide the opportunities if we can. And Marion is a prime example of that. Thank you for your 13 years, and good luck with the future.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Penn State Extension overview. Steve and Karen, would you like to come and say some few words about Penn State Extension?
Read that.
I'll hand these out.
Oh, sorry. Get your phone.
So good morning. I'm Steve Alessi, and this is my counterpart, Karen Thomas from Penn State Extension in Lackawanna County. So we are part of the Penn State Extension Network, and Penn State Extension delivers research and evidence-based programs to the residents of Lackawanna County through a partnership between Penn State University, the College of Agricultural Sciences, and the county government in Lackawanna County. It's an historical partnership that dates back almost 100 years, and we'd like to thank the commissioners and the residents of Lackawanna County for helping to keep this program going. So I'm going to give some program highlights and some work we're doing in the county, and then Karen's going to share about our Prosper program, which is actually very appropriate considering the earlier topic today related to the opioid crisis in the county. It's a program that's designed to help build youth resiliency to drug and alcohol and other risky behaviors. So the first program I'm going to talk about is a fairly new one. It's our Master Watershed Stewards, and started about 3 years ago between a partnership between Penn State and the county. And we have 24 active volunteers that do a variety of programs related to environmental stewardship and also watershed resources. And we work with a variety of organizations, including the Lackawanna River Conservation Association, the Lackawanna County Conservation District, PA American Water, and Trout Unlimited, providing education to residents related to, again, watershed quality and issues related to that. And we've touched about 2,500 community members on those topics, and our volunteers have done about almost 900 hours of community service related to a variety of projects, including rain barrels and rain gardens and other watershed issues. Our Nutrition Links program in Lackawanna County reaches 941 adults and children this year with nutrition programming, and that program is designed for low-income families and the FNEP and SNAP benefits that they receive through USDA Farm Bill. Our Lackawanna County Master Gardeners last year received second place in the Search for Excellence Award for their North Pocono Community Library project. And sorry, I'm going to talk about this again. I know it was recognized at the Commissioners' meeting back in June, but we're very proud of the program. It's a community garden that has donated almost 2,000 pounds of produce to local food banks since it was started almost only 4 years ago. So even in a short amount of time, it's had a big impact on the North Pocono community, and we're very, very proud of the work with the community library there. The 4-H program has been increasing enrollment by about 45% since 2017, and some of the things to be proud of the members of that program, about 30% have qualified for state competitions, and actually last year we had 2 grand champions at the 4-H horse show. So we're very proud of the youth that participate that in Lackawanna County, and they really should make the residents proud as well too with their activity and their excellence of work that they do. They also reach about 300 youth with school enrichment programs, and we anticipate that will increase in 2020 with some of the topics including embryology and STEM-related programming. So we're very proud of the work that's being done by that program. We're really excited to see the growth with it coming into the next year. Now I'm going to turn it over to Karen, and she's going to talk about the Prosper program in Lackawanna County. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning, Karen.
I love talking about Prosper, as you well know, Commissioner.
absolutely.
And as Steve alluded, it's very timely given the conversation we had earlier there about the drug epidemic that we have going on. And as you had said, Commissioner Cummings, it does affect all of us. It's a nationwide epidemic, and locally here, it's affecting all of us, and affecting us as taxpayers, because down the road, we're paying for lost wages, taxes, drug-related crimes, treatment, etc. So back in 2001, Penn State Extension began addressing this issue. We brought the Prosper Project to Lackawanna County, and it was started as a large research project to see about using a program delivery model, the Prosper model, which stands for Promoting School, Community, University Partnerships to Enhance Resilience. And what we do is we partner with school districts and bring together community partners like our friends at Drug and Alcohol and the Office of Youth and Family Services, among others, to implement and sustain evidence-based prevention programs. And these have gone through rigorous scientific studies to prove that they have positive outcomes, such as reducing delinquency, reducing hostility and aggression, of course, reducing alcohol and substance use. It's proven to have shown that it reduces anxiety and depression in our youth. And so the Prosper Project involved 11,000 youth in Pennsylvania and Iowa. We had 28 school districts involved, 14 here in Pennsylvania, and of those 14, we had 2 in Lackawanna County. We had Carbondale and Riverside. Carbondale was an intervention school where they got the programs, and Riverside was a control school. So we followed 2 cohorts of 6th graders from the time that they were 6th grade all the way through 12th grade, and we found that our programs did in fact reduce adolescent substance and even prescription opioid misuse. And just a statistic, we found by grade 12 we had nearly a 10% reduction in prescription opioid misuse if the youth participated in our programs. And we have 2 programs that are being implemented. One is called the Strengthening Families Program for parents and youth 10 to 14. We target 5th and 6th graders and their caregivers, parents and caregivers. Last school year, we ran 4 sessions in Carbondale and Riverside. We had 25 families successfully go through the program. That included 29 adults and 27 youth. And according to our pre- and post surveys, we found that parents were reporting improved family cooperation and problem solving, which are protective factors. So if you can increase those within families, the child is going to be less likely to get involved in risky behaviors like drugs and alcohol. We also found a great improvement in parent and youth relationship qualities, and the parents were increasing their monitoring of youth more frequently and setting standards in the families and following through with consequences if the limits weren't being met. The youth reported a 57% improvement in substance abuse rules and expectations, and a 40% increase in consistent discipline in the home, increased future orientation, and improved peer pressure refusal skills. We have a second program that's taught within the school day, and some of Barbara's trained staff help us with that, as well as trained teachers in the Carbondale district, and it's called Life Skills Training. That too is a scientifically proven program, 15 lessons that focus on drug, alcohol, and violence prevention. And we had 260 7th and 8th graders in the 2 school districts go through that program last year. So we're making inroads. Prevention is an important piece, as well as treatment to the whole continuum of care. And we feel that if we prevent drug and alcohol use right at the cusp of when youth are going to begin experimentation, which is around 7th, 8th grade, then they'll have the peer pressure refusal skills to avoid getting involved in those risky behaviors, and therefore down the road we will reduce the incidence of drug and alcohol use in our society, and in the long run save taxpayers dollars. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Cummings?
Well, and I appreciate that work that you're doing, and it's not just saving taxpayers, it's saving lives.
Oh, yes.
And families. Families are ripped to pieces over this, and, you know, like I said, it hits home with me, and, you know, some have recovered, some are still going through it, some that I know, even friends, family. It's unreal, you know, just unbelievable how devastating it is. And, you know, unfortunately, drastic measures are going to have to be starting to be taken, and it's hopefully the work that you're doing is going to bring a future of more educated young adults that have the ability to say no and mean it, you know, and say no. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank both of you for coming in. Penn State Extension has a tremendous impact on Lackawanna County in all different avenues. And the citizens need to know that you're here, because it's tough, because we have so many great opportunities in Lackawanna County government and just Lackawanna County in general that a lot of people don't realize they're here. And from Prosper, I think Prosper's incredible. You know what I mean? It's a great opportunity, like the districts that are involved at this point. And I'd love to see all of them get involved. You know, Penn State Extension is really there for the community to help. And I think that's the real definition of what it is. And like I said, it's all different aspects. So thank you for everything both of you do. Thank you. Thank you for coming in.
Support.
No, it matters. It really does. And I'll be at the 5K race with my son next year. Thanks, Karen. Thank you. Okay, opportunity for the public to address the board on agenda items only. Okay, resolutions 19-0285.
This is approving current payables, Commissioner. Thank you. Be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby approve the following payables. Lackawanna County General Fund numbers 291594 through 292368 inclusive, totaling $2,247,532.58. Electronic fund transfers, including all payroll accounts, totaling $2,962,458.11.
Okay, is everything up to par? Okay, everything's in order. Good job. Commissioner, you have any questions?
No, it's been a good night last night.
I'd like to make a motion approving current payables. Can I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Cummings?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes. 19-0282.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is accepting a lease proposal from Pitney Bowes. Be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby enter into a 5-year lease agreement with Pitney Bowes Incorporated for the District Court and Corner Offices postage meter to cost $45.49 a month per office. And here to speak on this motion, we do have our Deputy Director of Purchasing, Joe Wexler.
Morning, Commissioners.
Hey, Joe, how are you?
Very good, thank you. Yes, this is the current lease ran out on our Pitney Bowes machines in September, or near September. This is a new lease agreement for a 60-month period. Since I spoke to you last Friday, we've been able to reduce the price a little bit again. When I spoke to you on Friday, it was, I think, $178, and right now it's down to $136 per quarter.
Oh, good job.
It's a slight increase from the last lease, but we able to add some additional savings over the past week or so.
Very good. Commissioner Cummings, any questions? Okay, I'd like to make a motion accepting the lease proposal for Pitney Bowes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Commissioner.
19-0283.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is entering into an intergovernmental agreement. Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the Pennsylvania Department of Corrections at no cost to the county. The Department of Corrections will A, offer observations and recommendations for technical assistance related to the physical facility and operational practices. B, offer observations on security staffing for the prison. C, offer recommendations regarding CERT and chemical mutations for the prison. D, conduct canine searches for the presence of illegal drugs and drug paraphernalia. And E, conduct other services or provide additional training and recommendations concerning the safety, security, or operation of the prison, including vulnerability assessment of the prison as may be mutually agreed upon by the parties. Here to speak on this resolution is our Warden Tim Betty.
Good morning,
Tim.
Commissioners. I'm hopeful that the Commissioners will enter into this intergovernmental agreement. Again, to stress what Ms. Pantuso said, it's no cost to the county at all. We get services from the Department of Corrections upon request. Not immediately, but they schedule it, and it's very helpful, especially that canine search. That's what I'm most interested
I
in.
think that's great.
Yeah.
Commissioner, do you have any questions?
So it's going to be for,
They can do several things upon request. The canine searches, vulnerability assessments. They could even assist me in the future with a full-fledged staffing analysis by coming in and helping me to determine if we need additional staff members for this, that, and the other, and support.
but the
That
canine unit will be used when?
The canine unit would be used whenever we called upon it. There is a little bit of a delay if we wanted to get it done tomorrow. That wouldn't happen because they would have to schedule it. They haven't been out to see us yet, so they'd have to come out, look at the layout of the facility, and develop a plan as to how to approach that to sweep the whole area.
I
What?
mean, the element of surprise is what I'm looking for. Is that there or no? Or can we do that?
What's that?
The element of surprise?
Yeah, that would definitely be there because, again, I would be the one reaching out to it as long as I keep my
Yeah.
lips shut.
Yeah.
Nobody will know what's happening until the dogs are barking.
There we go.
Well, I think it's a great idea to bring them in. So thank you very much for your work.
I think it's a tremendous partnership. I think it's good for us to interact with the DOC, and we do in general.
Yes.
But this is just another opportunity for you and for the county prison.
Yes.
Very good. Okay, I'd like to make a motion entering to a governmental agreement. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
Yes. Thanks, Warden.
Thank you.
19-0284.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is entering into an agricultural conservation easements. Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby enter into an agreement acting through its County Agricultural Land Preservation Board for the sale and purchase of an agricultural conservation easement for 115.10 acre crop operation in Greenfield Township, James B. and Janet L. Corey Farm, and 205.90 acre of the crop livestock operation in Scott Township, Benjamin E. and Allison M. Nogan Farm. Here to speak on this resolution is the Farmland Preservation Program Administrator, Eric Johnson.
Morning, Eric.
Commissioners. How are you? As Ms. Pantuso said, we're presenting two easements for purchase for the 2019 program year through our Agricultural Land Preservation Program. The Corey Farm, as she mentioned, 115.1 acres, will be purchased jointly by the state and county with existing purchase funds that we have in the program. The total purchase price is $287,750, with each county and the state contributing $143,875 to the purchase of that agricultural easement. The Nogan Farm of 205.9 acres in Scott Township will be a total purchase price of $514,750. All of the costs of that easement purchase will be provided by the state through existing purchase funds provided through our program. If there's any questions, I'd love to answer them.
It's a great program. Thank you for your work on this. I
Great
really
work.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I'd like to make a motion entering into an agricultural conservation easement. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
coming
for
in.
your work
Continued
here.
support.
Thanks, Eric.
Absolutely, always.
19-0286.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is approving Area Agency on Aging Health and Welfare contracts. Be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby approve the Area Agency on Aging Health and Wellness contracts for fiscal year July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2020 for the Greater Scranton YMCA, Greater Carbondale YMCA, Geisinger Health and Wellness Programs, and Traditional Home Health not to exceed $5,000. Here to speak on this resolution is Aging Program Administrator Sarah McDonald.
Good morning.
Morning, Sarah.
The AAA receives state funding specifically earmarked for evidence-based health and wellness programs each year. These funds are specifically allocated to the agency for evidence-based programming. All of the listed partners have the capacity or are currently offering an array of evidence-based programming authorized by the Pennsylvania Department of Aging. There are over 100 different activities, and the two most widely recognized are the Silver Sneakers Program and the Chronic Disease Management Program.
Does the board have any questions for Sarah?
No, I'm not going to do that, sir. But the Silver Sneakers, could you just tell the people what that is so the public knows?
The Silver Sneakers program I know it's offered at like the YMCAs, and it's for individuals over 60 to help them stay active, get moving. They follow them, and they collect research and do research on them to show how the program is working and the effects on it has for the older adults in our community.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion approving the area aging health and wellness contract. Do I have a second?
I will give it a second. I wasn't planning on that, but I'm going to do that now. Thank you.
Okay, roll call?
Commissioner Cummings?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes. Thank you, Sarah. We'll get on to the next one, 19-0287.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is approving Area Agency on Aging contract amendments. Be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby approve an Area Agency on Aging contract amendment with the Greenhouse Project in United Neighborhood Centers with additional funding not to exceed $5,000. Here once again to speak on this is Sarah McDonald.
Sarah.
These contracts, again, fall under our health and wellness contracts, and we are just looking to amend both of these contracts to request additional funding not to exceed $5,000.
Okay. Does the board have any questions? I'd like to make a motion approving the area agent contract amendment. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Cummings?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes. Okay, 19-0288.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is approving the Area Agency on Aging United Way contract. Be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby approve that the Area Agency on Aging United Way contract for apprise services for fiscal year July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2023. Here once again to speak on it is the Aging Program Administrator, Sarah McDonald.
Apprise is one of the most critical services offered in the community by the Area Agency on Aging, offering free Medicare counseling to older Pennsylvanians. Apprise counselors are specifically trained to answer questions and provide you with objective, easy-to-understand information about Medicare, Medicare supplemental insurance, Medicaid, and long-term care insurance. It is especially essential to offer to the community during open enrollment.
Okay. Does the board have any questions? I'd like to make a motion approving area agents United Way contract. Do you have a second?
I'll second.
What's it?
Yeah, okay. Roll call. Yep.
Roll call.
Commissioner Cummings?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes. Okay, 19-0289.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is approving an agreement for damage control services. Be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby approve the Area Agency on Aging contract with First General Service for damage control service for fiscal year 2019 through 2020 to be utilized by Human Services for hoarding cleanouts, fire and water damage cleanup, and extreme cleaning and odor neutralization. Here to speak once again is Sarah McDonald.
This specific contract will be a shared human service contract that will be utilized on a case-by-case basis with the goal of keeping individuals and families in their homes if possible. It will be used specifically for extreme hoarding cases and any kind of home disaster cleanup if we can preserve the home and keep families in their homes in our community.
Good. I'd like to make a motion approving an agreement with Damage Control Services. Do I have a second?
Second, and I really applaud those that are doing that work.
That's a tough job.
Thank you very much, because, we have some, I've had a case where I had a Alzheimer's patient that, the family wasn't aware of what happened, that she had this diagnosis, and the mailman is the one that reported it. And they went into the home, and there was a dog. The dog wasn't fed. It was terrible. It was,
I know. Sometimes it's harder for people who are with these individuals every day to notice the little changes, and it takes somebody from the community to.
yeah, thank God for the mailman that reported it. You never know what's happening to your neighbors, and that work is really valuable. So thank you. Tell whoever is helping you with that I greatly appreciate their work.
We will.
And so the community knows this is really a valuable service for some of the elderly that are single people that have no family here. And the woman that I'm referring to was very wealthy. It doesn't have anything to do with your finances.
No.
It's just that she was alone and nobody knew what happened, and she had Alzheimer's. And God bless that mailman. He saved her life, and the dog's life too. So.
Yeah.
Thank you for your work.
Thank
on that.
you.
Do we still have to vote?
Roll call.
Commissioner Cummings?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners.
You're
Have a
welcome.
good day. Thanks for filling in.
19-0291.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is appointments to the Lackawanna County Planning Commission. Be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby reappoint the following individuals to the Lackawanna County Planning Commission. Cindy Campbell from Peckville, 4-year term to begin immediately and expire on December 31st, 2022. John Poches from Scranton, 4-year term to begin immediately and expire on December 31st, 2022. Rosemary Broderick from South Abington Township, a 4-year term to begin immediately and expire on December 31st, 2020. Attorney Bruce Zero from Moscow, a 4-year term to begin immediately and expire on December 31st, 2020. Joseph Lawrence Dunmore, a 4-year term to begin immediately and expire on December 31st, 2019. David Johns from Music, a 4-year term to begin immediately and expire on December 31st, 2020.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion for the I'd like to make a motion for the appointments to Lackawanna County Planning Commission. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Cummings?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes.
Can I have on the question?
On the
Please. I do appreciate them re-upping their positions. I really would have liked other people to have volunteered. We have not gotten anybody from the community or otherwise, and I do this all the time. I ask, please, seek out if you're interested in volunteering on some of these boards and authorities. We could really use your help. I mean, for 4 years I've been trying to get people to do this. And I do appreciate those that step up to the plate to re-up their positions. But it's always good to get new people in there. And, I'm applauding them for their work, but on the same token, I wish there was some new people that were coming into these positions so that we can get some new energy, But thank you to those that decided to stand. Thank you, Commissioner.
19-0292.
Thank you, Commissioner. These are appointments to the Lackawanna County Performing Arts Authority. Be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby reappoint the following individuals to the Lackawanna County Performing Arts Authority. James B. McDonough from Music, a 5-year term to expire on December 31st, 2021. Attorney Joe Price, Music, a 5-year term to expire on December 31st, 2020. Jack Figured from Scranton, a 5-year term to expire on December 31st, 2022. Be it further resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby appoint the following individual to the Lackawanna County Performing Arts Authority. Bob Savakinis, Carbondale, a 5-year term to expire on December 31st, 2023.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint for the Lackawanna County Performing Arts Board. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes. 19-0293.
Thank you, Commissioner. These are appointments to the Lackawanna Susquehanna BHIDEI Advisory Board. Be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby appoint the following individuals to the Lackawanna Susquehanna BHIDEI Advisory Board. John Werchinski from Dixon City, term to begin immediately and expire on December 31st, 2020. Charlene Spitzer from Scranton, term to begin immediately and expire on December 31st, 2020. Diane Baldy from Scranton, term to begin immediately and expire on December 31st, 2019. Brian Williams from Scranton, term to begin immediately and expire on December 31st, 2020.
I'd like to make a motion to the appointments Lackawanna Susquehanna Behavioral Intellectual Disabilities Advisory Board. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
Yes. 19-0294.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is appointments to the Workforce Development Board. Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby appoint the following individuals to the Workforce Development Board with a 2-year term to begin November 1st, 2019, and expire December 31st, 2021. Amy Loyster, the Scranton Chamber of Commerce Business Representative. Eric Schubert, Scranton Central Labor Union Labor Representative. And Jim Wansek, SLHDA Incorporated, Community-Based Organization.
I'd like to make a motion for the appointments to the Workforce Development Board. Do I have a second?
Second, boy, am I going to get it for that one?
Roll call.
Commissioner Cummings?
Yes.
Yes.
God.
Okay, opportunity for the public to address the board.
I don't even agree with me on that.
Morning, Commissioners.
Go
Bob
ahead, Jerry.
Wallace, Scranton. One, I'd like to congratulate the freedom fighters for what they're doing.
Yeah, very nice.
As fellow veterans, this country and our veterans are all freedom fighters from World War I, II, Korea, Vietnam, Desert Storm. Our country seems to answer the call to every country around the world when they need help in situations where freedom is at stake. And we're here today as freedom fighters for Desert Storm. But keep in mind, this country started World War I, World War II. We didn't speak German and we don't speak Japanese. We're not ruled by other countries. And that's because everyone that put on a uniform defended the rights of this country under that flag right there. And my mission has been to go to Iwo Jima. I've been there 3 times. I've been invited back now by the Emperor of Japan to finish my mission to recover the remains of Sergeant Ganas that filmed the flag raising on Suribachi. And if you notice in last week's Times, there was a picture of Iwo Jima where they're now trying to figure out who was raising the flag on Mount Suribachi. But they're forgetting about the men we left behind, Sergeant Ganas, 2 other Marines that are still in a cave. And we're pretty sure now we have the location on 362 Able. And hopefully my next mission I'll be able to bring their bodies home and bring our freedom fighters back here to America, especially the one that's been here for 70-some years that gave us the iconic symbol of the flag raising on Mount Suribachi in a movie film version. And we left them behind. I've asked Casey, I've asked Cartwright for their assistance to do this, and it's fallen on deaf ears. And we've made Sergeant Ganas a member of our community, and I think it goes a long way saying who we are and who we're not. We've just had our past election, and I think Scranton's going to change considerably. Ravello's, I thought he was going to bring us a pizza today when he came here.
We did
Nice
too.
guy. I'm going to have a long talk with him. I've been going to Ravello's since I could remember as a kid. In fact, we were just there several weeks ago and had pizza there. So it's a great thing to see the expansion and the growth they're doing. But it is one of the greatest pizzas that we're going to find in this community. But more importantly, after this election that we just had, as you know, as a candidate for mayor, and I was blasted with fake news from the Scranton Times about that I couldn't serve because of a past felony that is being in the process of being expunged that would allow me to serve. But the Times saw in their own interest to hammer away, and of course we lost. And we're going to deal with them in a courtroom over it. They were put on notice more than once. And I think news reporting has to be fair and equitable to everybody. But don't put out something that isn't true, and you know it isn't true. They were put on notice. And it's sad because Scranton belongs to us, not a newspaper. It belongs to the people in the community, not political parties. And that's the sad thing that's happening here. Hopefully Scranton will move in a different direction. One thing I would like to bring up, and I've been criticized back and forth. We have money owed us, nonprofits here that are taking advantage of us in the city. Well, let's talk about the University of Scranton and a candidate that will now be on city council, that her advocacy was supported by the University of Scranton in the gay party. You got to remember, the university's a Catholic Jesuit facility, and that's how they got their tax exemption. And because of what they've done and what they're continuing to do, I'm asking the commissioners to consider their tax exempt status.
We really can't get, that's,
Pardon?
Tax exempt status for who?
he's talking about the sexual part.
Oh, the university.
It's through Lackawanna County. However, they've received their tax exempt status. To have it rescinded because in actuality, and I'm not a prophet here, but the rule of God is what they go by, and they have not followed that. And I think it's a major violation for them when they got their tax exempt status. And they could be contributing millions of dollars into this economy right now that they're getting away from.
This is someone else's sexual orientation. It's not.
Pardon?
There's someone else's sexual orientation.
Yes.
In the school there, we can't.
No, but it was advocated by the University of Scranton to pursue that and allow it to pursue whatever the reasoning are. I mean, if they're tax exempt and they're following the rule of God, that's one thing they're not doing. If they're not tax exempt, they can do whatever the hell they want to do.
I don't think that the university can talk about anybody's sexual orientation. Like, just,
Well-
it's not their, it's not their job. And once they leave the college, they left the college. So whatever.
No,
the
but
person wants to do-
they sponsor and they advocated at the school to allow it to persist. There's a big difference, whether who goes to school or who doesn't. It's what your sexual orientation is, and you bring it out, and the school supports it in an issue, and that's why I'm raising it. You know, if we're going to straighten the city out, let's straighten it out the right way. And I've spoken out on it, and I just think their exempt status should be rescinded. Just for that reason, they've gone against the rule of God and what they're doing. If they don't have a tax exemption anymore, they could do whatever they want to do.
Separation of church and state. We can't, that's not.
Well, it's something that I think needs to be considered and not be political anymore.
We can't.
Well, let Donnie talk on it. Or John.
Okay.
And I've just raised the issue, Pat. It's up to the people of the community to decide what they've done, and I have no question one way or the other on it. I'm just raising the issue as far as getting more money into the city and the county, and if they're legally doing what they're doing, that's fine. If they're not, then the city residents should be entitled, in the county, to $18 million a year. That's all the properties they got out there. You could be bringing in maybe $30 million a year. And that's why I'm bringing it up. If they violated why they're exempt by doing what they're doing, then we're entitled to the money. That's all I'm saying. I don't care what the sexual preference is of somebody there. But if you advocate it as a Jesuit Catholic school, no more than the Catholic Church would be, then it has to be reconsidered. They could get their exemption some other way. I want to know how they did it and why they're exempt. That's all. It's a question that people in the community should ask themselves. It's our money. They're taking properties all over the place because, quote, they're exempt as a Catholic Jesuit university. And if they've gone against that rule that allows them to be called a Catholic Jesuit university, then so be it. That's what this is about. That's why I got involved in politics here. That's why I got involved in the city, to do what's right for the people and this community, just as you two have done. And Lorene, you've done your job. I think you've done an admirable job for the community.
Thanks,
and
Mark.
so have you, Pat. And we're going to have a change here. In fact, Debbie Dominic, I had a right to know done on her through the Dunmore Police.
Okay, we don't want to
Okay,
talk
we
about
can't,
that.
yeah.
No, no.
We don't. No, we don't want to talk about that, Bob.
No, but we have to know who's sitting here and why they're sitting here.
But
There's
I'm
nothing
not,
yet.
we're not going to bring
No,
that
I'm
up
not
here.
taking you down the road. I'm just telling you what I did, and I'm not telling you what it's about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to name anybody here. It doesn't.
You know, the
Commissioners,
people
we
made
seem to
their
be
choice.
getting
The
far
people
away
have
from
made
this
their
is-
county
choices.
Yeah,
business.
let's-
This
let's
isn't
talk about
county
county
business
business, 'cause
anymore.
this
This
is-
is turning into like
No,
a
no.
I mean,
vendetta.
she's.
What I'm
Miss-
saying,
Miss
Pat,
Do- Miss Dominic's been vetted from May till yesterday. You know what I mean? If there was anything in her background that was bad, they would have crucified her already. And you know what I mean? You don't think our local media wouldn't have chopped her head off if she had done something wrong? She's done nothing wrong. She took her right to be able to run for public office. She did it and she won. It's over. If people were vetting her, they vetted her over the last year to death. And the truth of the matter is, at this point, there's nothing in her background, or they would have been brought up. It just would have been.
Well,
It just would have.
unfortunately,
I don't care
people
even if
didn't
there
look
was.
there.
I-
But
But I
don't
mean,
wanna
but
talk
it's just
about
it's
it.
over
talk
with,
about
Pat. I'm just saying that we've got to look at everybody. Once you become a public official, you go under the microscope. It's
Bob,
as simple
you know
as
yourself. You don't think that if there was anything on anybody that they wouldn't chop them apart already? Oh my God! You know what I mean?
that. The
Jeez.
times wouldn't bother to look for it. Trust me.
I know, but I don't like personal attacks against anybody. I would rather see the work that they're doing. I always go by the work that they're doing, and personal attacks have no business in this. And trust me, you and I have both been, and Commissioner, by personal attacks that destroy your reputation. Then they're based on false narratives, and rather than look at the work that we're doing. And maybe if they start looking at the work that we're doing, things would be different in this county.
And I agree with you, Commissioner. That's what I'm concerned about, the work of the future, where we're going with both the city and the county. Okay? And it's the residents in the city and the business in this community that are at stake right now.
Well, we don't just watch over the city of Scranton. That's the false narrative that's out there. We run the county. We are completely separate from the city of Scranton. Like I said at the last meeting, it's just like, and this is nothing against you, Bob, it's just a generality that's out there. That would be just like saying we had some kind of control over Carbondale City, which is another city in Lackawanna County, and we don't. We have nothing to do with the way they run their cities. We are the county government, completely separate from the city of Scranton. And I'm frankly sick and tired of hearing that we are compared to the city of Scranton when we're not, because this culture of corruption that people are talking about, we're referring to the mayor of the city of Scranton. It had nothing to do with us, nothing. And, you know, it's very frustrating to have to listen to this nonsense and not have to say anything. But you know what? It's the day after the election, so guess what? I can say something today. And I'm going to continue to do that from now on. And they're not going to stop me from talking. So, even though I am on stick.
What I brought out, Commissioner, wasn't about the city of Scranton for you to decide. It was about tax exemption.
Well, I
that
would
the
pose
county-
that to the tax office, not
Well,
to us.
I
And then if
understand.
they say yes, it's something, then come to us. You know what I
But
mean?
eventually it comes before the commissioners to make the final decision no matter what. I'm just looking at a tax exemption and the reasons they're granted a tax exemption. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I would talk
It's
to
not
the tax
about the
office.
city of Scranton. I haven't even bothered to bring that up.
Okay.
This was strictly commissioner and county business I'm talking about. The other part of the county business I'm talking about today is you have Joe Joyce acting as your solicitor and also as your tax collector. I brought this up more than once in the past, and it's still allowed to persist.
Did you apply for the position?
Pardon?
Apply for the position.
I'm not applying for anything here.
Because we're trying to
after-
fill a position.
No, Commissioner, I brought it up because it's put us in litigation that should have never been done. I was forced to file a bankruptcy because of their
Oh, okay, I
actions.
gotcha. All right.
And because of Kolodziejski, what he did, and he was wearing a double hat too. So there's a lot of issues here that went on that I'm addressing today that hopefully the new commissioners here will pay attention when they come on board, that we have to clean the slate in a lot of ways. That's all, and you still have an opportunity to do something with it, but that's why I brought that up, because it's going to still force the city into litigation, or the county, rather.
Working on it.
And the other thing, thrown out there, I threw it out once before, we have the former sports dome up in Jessup. It's an 80,000 square foot playing field up there, and if the county's interested in buying it before we liquidate it, and tear up the dome, or the artificial turf on it, I think it'd be a great place for the county to give to the people of the community, to have somewhere for the kids to go other than just relying on the university or other places. And that's what I'm throwing out to you today.
Thanks,
But as
Bob.
far as politics goes, as of today, I'm done with it.
Well, you had a good run.
I did what I did for the people in the city of Scranton. I got in it because the two candidates that were running, Chris Cullen and Spano, and they both lost, and I'm happy to say that I was involved in their loss, and we move forward now. Thank you.
Well, I applaud you running for office, Bob. Great job. Thank you. Thank you for trying to change the city.
I move on.
Joan Hodawana, it's 101 Penn Avenue, Scranton.
Sure.
I
I'm on speaker.
need a favor. There is a gentleman who frequently attends Mass at St. Peter's Cathedral every morning at 6:30 a.m. This gentleman is a veteran of the Korean War, and he has never received his medals. Okay? What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to pair him up with Dave Isley
It's great.
to
Yeah,
get those
definitely.
medals. But this is the favor I want. If we can get those medals, I want a very public presentation of the medals. I don't want them just dumped in his lap.
The meeting.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how or when, okay, and I assume Commissioner Terriani would agree too. But I would very much like to see this man honored. June of 2020 will mark the 70th anniversary of the beginning of the Korean War, so this man is probably in his 90s. And I want this done to honor him and his family before he gets much older. Okay?
Absolutely.
So I'll let you know what I can get done. Oh,
Get down with Dave Isley.
I already talked to Dave this morning. Why wasn't the budget on today's agenda for a second reading?
Because I still have some questions on it, and I asked them
Okay.
to take it off.
All right, so probably beyond the November 20th? Okay.
If I don't have any.
I think we have till December 15th, don't we? If we want?
December 1st, has to be adopted by December 1st.
Okay, but your only meeting before December 1st is November 20th, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it probably will,
Special.
with regard to the payables, I see Gary DeBilio is probably sleeping off his drunken hangover from last night, but
Oh,
Among others.
okay, yeah. Maybe he's just tired.
I'm
He might have been tired
kidding,
from a long
I'm
day yesterday.
kidding.
know?
You know, when you get over 40, you just
And
can't,
this is
you
why
can't hold your liquor
this
anymore.
is why we get along, Joan.
It's a long, it's a long day to be out there for the.
I
for
know,
a
I know.
Long day.
But
If
since
anybody's
he's,
ever done it, it's a long one.
okay, since he's not here, was there any increase in the legal fees with regard to the prison?
There were, yes, 2 bills added about 15.
Okay, all right. Speaking of bills, I was disappointed to see that we have another issue raising its ugly head in the paper on Monday. Endangerment case prompts review. Office of Youth and Family Services faces state scrutiny. Now, I'm aware, as everyone is aware, that these are, at this stage, allegations. And, you take that for what it's worth. And I understand that 2 employees have been placed on paid administrative leave. And that's fitting and proper. One thing bothered me, though, and I'm glad you're here, Attorney Frederickson, because you were quoted, let me find it, or cited at least. Let's see where it is. Yes, Donald Frederickson, the county's general counsel, et cetera, speaking generally, Frederickson said the office does its best to meet the review deadline. Apparently there's a 10-day deadline for reviewing these cases, but that can be difficult because of its high volume of cases. So my question is the Office of Youth and Family Services appropriately staffed so they can handle its workload? Or should we be looking at expanding its staff? I know that's a budget question, and that hiring more people means increasing the budget for that particular department. However, in this particular department, you're looking at a potential catastrophe for children. Okay, I mean, some departments, they're wonderful and they're nice to have, but nobody's going to die if they go away or if their budget's reduced. This is different. So since you have not completed your budget and you have some questions, would you please relook the staffing of that particular department? And I'm not casting aspersions on their performance or anything else done in there. But if they don't have the right people to get the job done, you're going to have children fall through the cracks. And by the grace of God, those children were removed and are now in appropriate care. But God knows what could have happened. I don't know how this thing came to light, but your own, general counsel has said that it's a heavy workload. Do they have enough of the right people? And I don't know about you, but, there's a lot of shifting of that budget that you can do of moving money around. And God forbid we have to use the T word, raise taxes.
That will never come out of my mouth ever, Joan, ever.
You understand what I'm saying, though? You have not just a fiduciary responsibility, but a moral responsibility to see that the most innocent and the most vulnerable in the county, that includes our children, are properly protected. So that, as part of this, and this allegation may prove to be unfounded, but there may be a separate issue that they have too heavy of a workload and these reviews aren't being done right. So I think it's incumbent upon you as the leadership to see that that is done, that we don't have any children or anyone else put in a position of danger. And I'll ask you 2 weeks from now, what have you done? Thank you.
Okay, John.
Anyone else? Commissioner Cummings.
Okay, well, I'm glad to see that people are engaged, at least two, in our community, and there's a couple of people that are here today visiting. Like I said, I congratulate those that ran for office, and I also want to thank Commissioner O'Malley for his recognitions, and definitely Barb Durkin, thank you very much.
Barb was right at the forefront. When I
Yeah.
brought to her attention, she said, absolutely, without
Thank
question.
you. Thank
Now,
you so much.
Mine was absolutely.
It's they talk about this past 4 years, the work that we've done as, I'm not sure how they describe it. How do they describe it? Dysfunctional? or-
Dysfunctional. This is what I want to just really put this up.
Yes.
Okay, dysfunctional. Does dysfunctional put you in a consolidated building? Does dysfunctional not increase your taxes? Does dysfunctional
Well, don't be
take
taking
all of
away
our
my thunder here.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, it's all yours. But I mean, like,
And then you
we're-
can go, too.
But this is we're sitting right inside of what part of dysfunction is, which I love the fact that people would even think that in that our local media that this would be.
But here's my point. They say it was dysfunctional because we had an unholy alliance. I had right with the Democrat Party, I guess somehow, which I didn't. But yet the statement made on the news was, "We'll be able to work together." So I don't really understand that, Commissioner. I mean, I have worked with both you and Commissioner Notarianni. I think we have done a good job. I mean, I can't even believe how lucky and blessed that I feel as a resident of this county that we were able to pull off a consolidation.
Yeah,
And
in the first 6 months.
I mean, this was
5 months.
This was done like the first. The evening meetings you all support it. The small business you all support it. The no tax increase you support it, and the consolidation you support it, and the no firings you support it. So it was like a week after the election. I was like, wow. So John, what are we going to work on? We had to find other things to work on 5 days into it, you know? So, and we did. I mean, my God, people don't even know the work that we've done, that they
That
will
have nothing
never.
to do with the government, just to help the citizens in general.
Yeah,
just
to save them money.
Outside of what we do, we've done so much more. So much more.
And I'm so proud to have been able to do that, to work with you and with Commissioner Terriani as well on some things. And I don't ever want to do negative publicity on anyone. I really don't. I don't run campaigns that way. You can look at my campaigns. I don't do it. Because I do value the work that people do, and I want to look at their jobs as a person to see, you know, are they qualified? We've done that. I mean, we have Barbara Durkin. How much more qualified can you get than her?
Yeah.
And we just brought in Marion, I forget her last name.
Yeah, Mary Colbert.
The Colbert,
Yep.
that's how you say it, okay. I'm terrible with
13
names.
years.
But, I mean, you know, her and I basically went back and forth, and she just is excellent at her job. She, you know me, I can be pretty tough in it. You know, she,
Mary, not that tough. Is she that tough?
she was excellent. She was able to, you know, calmly and respectfully answer questions without any, and everybody that we've interviewed, now there were a few I didn't agree with and I didn't vote on, but, you know, that's the way it goes. It's supposed to be give and take. It's supposed to have some pushback. That's why there's 2 Dems and 1 Republican, so that you do have pushback. That's the point. The point is that you're supposed to fight for the principles that you believe in, and you know, try and accomplish that, and have some common ground meet in the middle to help the taxpayers, because not every voter wants the same thing, and I've had to recognize that. And you know, a lot of times I think that I disagree with a lot of the voters, obviously, but you know, I think that that's just a matter of me getting out there and educating the public, which is what I'll have time to do now. So, you know, it's very busy here, very busy. And I do appreciate the work, and I wish I had something to offer you, because you did this, right? I'm shocked by this. I really do thank you.
No,
for
Barb
your
Durkin was right there for it. So
I thank you, Barb.
It really mattered.
And, you know, it's, you know, it's been a privilege, and I'm so honored to have been a part of it. And I'm still going to continue to fight on that realm. I won't stop. I'll always be in the public eye for that. But yeah, I find that very interesting. Bob Bolus, you know, Bob does tend to talk about things that people don't want to talk about. Thank you. But he did put his money where his mouth is, and like you said, regardless of who it is that runs for office, they should be, you know, congratulated for their efforts regardless. And, you know, time, talent, and treasure goes into these campaigns. And your family's affected, your life is affected. And, you know, it's not an easy thing to do for anyone to run for office. Although some get away with easier things than others, but I'll leave that for another day. But, you know, I do applaud everybody that ran, and I thank them for their time and effort in that. Joan, one of our other appointments to a board, I can't even say how much work you do. It's very proud of that, you know, appointment, and thank you for stepping up and doing it, and, you know, for coming up here and giving it to us when you think we deserve it. That's your job, and I appreciate that, and that's why we're here, and we have to be able to have that dialogue. And if it wasn't for citizens like you and Bob, I mean, these issues don't come to the forefront unless we hear from the public, regardless of what anybody else wants to make fun of. It's their issue, and they are a citizen, you're a citizen, and if they don't like that, well, then let them come up to the podium and tell us what they don't like about what we're doing. But you see this room, you know, that the keyboard warriors aren't here, whoever they are, unless they are and we just don't know it, because they don't want to say their names because they're cowards. I mean, some of those comments I read in the Scranton Times are despicable, and they should be sued. If their name was there, I would sue them in person, because it's all lies. They guess at these things. They've actually talked about our employees, which they should have no right to talk about our employees. They don't even know them. And that really upsets me when they talk about the employees, because, you know, maybe there is a couple that you know, but you don't do that when you don't even know what they're talking about. And in regards to CYS, I cannot comment on that because it's ongoing, obviously. However, what I can say, as someone who was a recipient of their services, who was in foster care my entire life until I was 18 or 17. I'm here because of the work that they did. And it was through this county that my case was overseen. And, you know, I understand that the family I was in helped them to do their job because they were a great family. And I was blessed to have a wonderful family that CYS didn't really have to worry too much about, but yet they did. They came and did their evaluations. I hated it. I hated every minute of when they came because I didn't want to sit there and answer what I perceived to be stupid questions. And it was uncomfortable because you are a foster child, so you have to answer these questions, and it's uncomfortable for the children. So it's a tough job that they have. I know what they have to do. I lived it. I was one of the foster children that they took care of, and I do appreciate their work. And you know, I understand that there could be pressures in there that people aren't really aware of, and situations can occur that, you know, I know some of the people that worked in there that from years ago that no longer work there that just can't do the job because it's very heartbreaking. You see some very, very heartbreaking situations, and it's not an easy job. And, you know, I applaud them for their work, and I hope that it's rectified, but I can't comment on that specifically, just on my care. So I will look into the finances, though. I'll continue to look at the budget for that. Yes, the budget is, I will take blame for that because I had a lot more questions on that, and that's the reason that we have this time. And Commissioner O'Malley has, like I said, been very flexible in things that I've requested, which he didn't have to be. You know, I mean, he had another vote that he could have just went and said, you know what, I'll just go see the other Democrat and get it done. But he doesn't. He allows me the respect to say, okay, what questions you have, let me know, we'll work on it, and if there's something different that you think we can do, he'll listen to me. Doesn't mean he's going to adopt that, but he does listen, so I do appreciate that. Thank you, Commissioner, for 4 years of your respect in regards to that. And November 11th is Veterans Day. I just don't want to make sure that we get that out there. County offices are closed, but if you have the opportunity, I know Commissioner O'Malley will say more on it because he's much more in tune to what goes on in that community than I am. But you know, I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. And the other issue, since we did talk about the opioids, I want to talk about this vaping. You know, I was excoriated by the local media and many, many people in this area in regards to the medical marijuana being allowed to happen in our state. It is against the law federally. And the reason is because there hasn't been enough testing on that to be prudent in its use and to show its efficacy. And yet the government, again, sticks its nose where it doesn't belong, just like it did in the opioids, where it changed pain to a vital sign. The federal government did that in the Veterans Administration. And through some of the medical, the AMA even did it. They changed it as well. But they changed it back now. So what do? They make this medical marijuana out there, and I don't care how many of you out there dog me over this. I will not stop talking about it. It was never vetted, and that is a fact. And it has been written in the Scranton Times as well on the same day as they mocked me in the editorial that it was not vetted appropriately at the federal level. It's all anecdotal. And, you know, I get people tell me, well, this CBD works for me and that. I don't care. It doesn't change the fact that the federal government it's illegal. And you are talking about a drug that has THC in it, that everybody's competing to increase the dosage. You don't know what you're getting. It can't be measured. And, you know, you can't test for it out in the field. And people are taking the CBD, and I really do want to know from whoever is out there checking on if there is anybody, maybe Barb can answer this for me. If CBD is utilized, how much of that do you have to use before it shows up in your bloodstream? Because I know there's a percentage of THC in that, unless they're pulling it out and extracting it. But I've seen some of the forms that they can sell, 0.3% to 0.7% is legal to have in the CBD products. But with these, I made a point to say, You know, mark my words, they're going to start seeing something happen. Mark my words. And lo and behold, we're starting to see problems with vaping. Now, they want to blame the manufacturers of the vaping, but it's linked to the THC in medical marijuana. saw one case on television where it wasn't, and that was just one case, and I don't want to doubt that person, but I just have to say that it's been a proven fact that it was the THC that was in this. It wasn't the vitamin E, because they tested that as well. And why did this happen? These people that this happened to, they should be suing this government of the state. They should be suing the clinics, and because those clinics don't have, they're not even clinics where they sell these products for marijuana. They have a pharmacist. A pharmacist is not supposed to give out scripts. He is not licensed to do that. Now, I understand they're trying to change that and allow them to write scripts for certain drugs now, but doctors are the only ones that are supposed to be writing scripts, and people that are allowed to. A pharmacist doesn't have, I mean, if everybody can go to their pharmacist and get a prescription written, then why go to the doctor if you just go to the pharmacy and say, hey, these are my symptoms, give me a prescription? That's not how it works. And that is not safe for anybody. And this pot oil culprit in vaping disease has been proven. And, you know, even Marijuana Business Daily is admitting to this information. So, you know, here's our case. What's going to happen now? Where are all you supporters of marijuana on this issue? Because it is the THC in it. Where are you to answer for these people, for these people that have been they're destroyed and deaths? Where are your answers for this? Why isn't anybody being sued because of it? And let's just talk about how vaping came about in Pennsylvania. PA medical marijuana rule change will let patients vape. Soon, this was April 17, 2018. Soon, medical marijuana patients in Pennsylvania won't just be limited to taking oils, pills, and liquid forms of the drug. Starting in the summer, they'll be able to get marijuana in its dry leaf form, but will technically be limited to using it only in a vaporizer. This is what the committee out in Harrisburg decided. The Commonwealth's Medical Marijuana Advisory Board recommended several updates to the program, which Health Secretary Rachel Levine says she approved after careful consideration. Really? What careful consideration went into this when a year later you have people dying from it? Where are the media asking the Health Secretary Rachel Levine what careful consideration they took in regards to approving this in Pennsylvania? The new rules allow marijuana prescription for an expanded list of illnesses and therapies, including neurodegenerative diseases, dyskinetic and spastic movement disorders, palliative care for any terminal illnesses, and substitute treatment for opioid addiction. However, the allowance of dry leaf marijuana is likely the biggest change for most consumers. Levine acknowledged that's the same kind of marijuana that's usually smoked recreationally. Said she expects patients will allow their doctor's instructions and stick to vapes. Stated, I emphasize, we're allowing a form that can be vaporized, not smoked. Big deal. Look what it caused. So who do we sue when this happens? For you people out there that were affected by this, that's who approved it. Harrisburg, Dr. Levine, carefully considered it. And this is what I was talking about happening. So, told you so. How's it feel? It feels good for me. But you know what? It doesn't feel good for those people that lost their family member. You push this crap onto the public saying it's okay without any studies being done, and then people die from it, and who's answering for it? Nobody. Nobody's answering for it. Why not? Where's the outrage? You're outraged because, oh, I said something silly about a CBD product? Are you kidding me? That's your answer to problems with drugs? It's a disgrace. Should have never happened in our state, and it should be banned yet again and brought back to the federal level. And I don't care how many of you write on my Facebook page and dox me or whatever else you want to do, because my page isn't going down ever again. I'll fight you tooth and nail. And I will fight this thing again, too, out in the public. You think I'm done with marijuana? Not a chance. Thank you.
Okay. First and foremost, I'd like to, wait, let me get into this for a second. Joan had some questions. We really can't get into that because it's personnel issues. But with that being said, we speak to Bill Browning like once a week. And Bill Browning does a great job. And I want people to realize, a few years ago, we were that government shutdown. Their department was going to be basically, there would be payless paydays, payless weeks or bi-week paydays. And this government made sure, because we knew the vulnerable and the young could not be left to take care of themselves. We made sure that they were taken care of, that those employees were paid, and they were out there doing their job every day, because we had to make sure that our citizens are safe. The situation that's going on right now, like I said, I really can't expand upon it, but we will be looking into it, and we will try to make sure that all of our children are as safe as they possibly can be, because that's one of our things that we're here for. We're here to take care of our aging. We're here to take care of our children. And we don't take this lightly. Like I said before, we made sure when there was a government shutdown with the state that we were able to afford to be able to pay those employees to keep them on the job, because we knew what the impact would be for area aging and for children and youth services. I'd like to wish all of our veterans a happy Veterans Day. Monday is a big day. There's a lot of veteran services going on throughout Lackawanna County. Try to make it out to one of them. They're all throughout Lackawanna County. There's one in everyone's community. But the big thing is, people want to thank everybody on Veterans Day. Thank our veterans 365, because it's 365 days. I brought it before. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be sitting here having a meeting. So thank a veteran when you see a veteran for his service and his time and the sacrifice of his family. On Saturday, November 23rd, there's going to be the JCs will putting on the Santa Parade. 11 a.m. start downtown Scranton. Great. Come out, bring the kids out. Great for memories, and it's a great parade. It's really enjoyable. If it's cold, dress in layers. It's going to be a great Saturday, November 23rd. And we will be having our Christmas tree lighting over the courthouse, which is beautiful. Hopefully we'll have a light snow that night. That is on Thursday, December 5th. And I think we'll have the Catholic choral chorus to sing along, and we'll light the trees, and Scranton Unico will provide cocoa and cookies, and it's free for everyone to come out. And then the next day, and this is another great thing that this administration did that supposedly was the worst that ever lived, we're going to be having our winter marketplace here on Wyoming Avenue, right outside the Globe store. The most focal point of our community for Christmas for generations. The deadest street there was until the day that we opened these doors again after the closure of the Globe and Oppenheim's. It will be alive and well for 3 days, starting on Friday the 6th through Sunday the 8th. And we will start off with the lighting of the Globe, just like the old days, outside. And Unico will be providing cocoa and cookies. And we're going to have great vendors. It's going to be a great weekend. There's going to be a lot of people downtown Scranton. So please come on out and see how dysfunctional government actually works and does a great job. So, but that's the part I just think is funny, because our government has done a tremendous job. No tax increases, consolidation of government, and just all the great quality of life opportunities that we've provided and everything we've done outside the scope of being commissioners. It's been a tremendous 4 years. And I'm sorry about the smart people block away, just can't understand that. But we did the right job on behalf of the 214,000 people, especially the part where they said we were gutless and we let the people vote on reassessment. Well, I'm sorry, that's something that affects every single household in different ways. So why wouldn't we have the vast majority vote this? And they did, and it went down in flames. And so we were against reassessment. Now, maybe the next administration, which they're alluding to, will be, but this administration is absolutely and utterly against it, and we're hoping that, I know part of the team was definitely against reassessment back in the past. They should stand their ground and be against it, because it's unaffordable, and citizens will be leaving their houses in droves. We have a senior citizen population, and it will hurt, not only at their level, but at the level of county government, because reassessment is an $11 million to $13.5 million investment to start, and it will hurt the citizens of Lackawanna County. And I'd just like to wish everyone a happy, safe Wednesday, and that's it. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.